Grand Rising family. Happy Friday. Is it Friday? I feel like it's Friday. I'm going to go with that. Happy Friday. My chat for Facebook is not showing up. Let me refresh this, make sure that that's working. There we go. There we go. All right. So for those of you who are just tuning in and have no idea what's going on in our lives right now, this is the second public live of Thoughts from the Chair that I have done this week. Peaches is homeschooling the kids. So I have from 4 a.m. when I get out of bed until about 11 where I've got nothing to do. I go to the gym, do my morning routine, get my gratitude, do all of my stuff, eat breakfast, prepare work, and then sit there and twiddle my thumbs or play Magic the Gathering on the computer and like real shit, fucking over the game. So like this has been a way for me to interact with our community, create content, get some watch times because YouTube changed their monetization policy recently. Yes, this is live. This is a public live. There will be ads. We don't ask that you guys send us money for super chats and shit, although that would be super gangster. But the ad revenue is a nice little, bonus for being publicly live. So there will be ads. I did create a document. I have some things that I want to go over. This has kind of been the theme. I did 3 of these just for Patreon. The one I did yesterday, I used for clips. I don't know if I'm going to edit that and use that as actual content, but this one is going to get edited and reused for content later down the road. So yes, this is a public live, guys. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Let's see what we got. How many we got? We got, looks like 53 on YouTube and 5 or 6 on Facebook. So good morning, Twisted. Good morning, Cynthia. A little late, but didn't want to miss it. Grand Rising all. Hello, Amy. Charlotte, hello. Glad you're doing this. Thank you, Sarah. Hopefully you guys get value out of this. I'm going to just kind of read through a little bit of things. Hello, good morning, Alex. Hope that you're doing well over there on the other side of the country. What I wouldn't give for some Dunkin' this morning. I broke this morning. Peaches and the kids were talking about breakfast. And they were like, we're going to get Dunkin'. Do you want donuts? And I was like, man, I'd love a donut. But no, let me go ahead and just get my breakfast sandwiches and a coffee. And I broke with the coffee. I shouldn't be having that sugar, but that's the first unhealthy thing that I've had this week minus a donut. I had a donut this week. So, all right, guys. So, the name of this document is called Slow Death of Curiosity, Trust, and Attraction. And the way that I've been doing this is I've been kind of like, I prepared the entire document. Shout out to Australia. I prep out my document and then I try to stay on the document, but I also kind of free flow because nobody wants to watch someone do this the entire time that you're watching us because that's really boring. And I don't want to do the teleprompter thing. Thank you for the jewels. I don't know how that works on here. Apparently that's like a super chat on a lower level. Either way, I appreciate the gift giving, guys. It's dope. So my first question for you guys is, do you actually know your partner or do you know an outdated version of them? Contrary to popular belief, people change. People can change. People do change. Who you are in your 40s is not who you were in your 20s. Madman said, thank you for what you do. Thank you for hanging out with me while I'm doing it. But relationships often operate from a old perspective, old information, old data. There's not been a whole lot of new data collected. We believe we know our person, and because we think that we just know them, the curiosity starts to fade. When we first meet somebody, there's a whole lot of curiosity. We ask questions. We want their stories. We want to know what they believe. Honestly, what they want. We want to know what scares them, what makes them smile, what their kinks are. Like, we ask all kinds of crazy shit. What their dreams look like, their goals, what success is, what the retirement looks like. Do you want kids? What's your ideal dream job? Where do you want a vacation? You ever been on a boat? Like, all of those conversations in the beginning of a relationship is one of the things that makes the relationship super fucking exciting because you don't know this person. Everyone gets, I can't say everyone because not everybody has my level of spicy brain, but the data collection aspect of trying to learn something is super fucking exciting for me. So when, Peaches and I started dating and we were recording and we were talking about everything that was going on in her life and in my life and trying to learn how to navigate her waters was thrilling because I didn't know any of it. right? And I wanted to know all of it, and I was engrossed in the things she was saying, and I was really paying attention. And like, that's the courting phase for almost everyone, and it's fucking exciting. You add oxytocin and dopamine to the mix, man. So eventually we start to think that we've got them completely figured out, right? And the curiosity then stops, and we don't feel like we need to probe or try to understand who they are or who they're becoming, because that's my person. I already know. Like, I don't need, I know, right? I love that Peaches is homeschooling the babies and Chris is homeschooling all of us. Fuck yes. That's funny. That is funny. She's doing a thing, guys. We talked about this a little bit yesterday on the live stream. I 100% do not have the patience to homeschool. I fucking don't. That shit is so fucking hard for me to even be in the room. I don't have the patience, and it's very hard for me to take a breath and be like, hey, like, I know you can do this, because their kids are used to us doing a lot for them. So when things get hard, they expect us to just do it. And that's not what we're doing. They're having to learn how to do things. And Papa Bear wants to jump in, just get it done and go about my life. So like, it's very difficult. She's fucking crushing it on that homeschooling thing. Somebody said that beard though, this beard almost got shaved off this morning. This may not be here much longer. This was a product of laziness before we went to Greece in June. And it's pretty fucking hefty now. Anyways, so they are your person, right? You're not curious anymore because they are your person. That's when things like, I know how she's going to respond shows up, or he's not going to like that, right? She doesn't care about that. He's never been an emotional person. She always needs space, yada, 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 right? This is, we know the outcome before it happens. So now we're, harassing. We're rehearsing the things that need to be said, having fear of the conversations because we already believe how it's going to go. So we don't have the conversations that need to be had. We have the conversations in a way that we think is going to be the safest for us to have the conversations. And now it becomes a lecture. It's no longer a curious conversation about what needs to be done or how we can improve or be better, right? Appreciate both you and Peaches. Your conversations remind me of the conversations I used to have with my grandmother all the time about relationships. She passed earlier this year. I'm sorry for your loss. I love that you had somebody in your life that you were able to talk to. That's such a big deal. Chanel said, I took the leap this year and I'm also homeschooling my kids. Congratulations. I found a very good program where I just need to be there to help in case they have questions. We are very excited for the homeschooling journey and opportunities that will open up for other things. I love that. I love that. All right. I'm going to go back to this. I really want to, I'm going to, after we get done with the document, I'll hang out with you guys and we can bullshit in the chat. And like, I enjoy that a lot. So I'm curious how much of what we know about our partner is from current information, right? And again, this comes down to you probed and did the thing in the courting phase and got to know your person. Then they became my partner or my husband or my wife. And then the probing kind of stops because now you've been living together for as long as you've been living together and you think you know. And this is an ego thing when you really think about it. And how much of that information is collected over the last 5, 10, or 20 years? How much of that information comes from the stories that we tell ourselves, not from the actual data? It's important to remember that we are constantly collecting data. Every time something happens, let me back up. Every time we tell ourselves a story, something happens that solidifies our belief in that story. It then collects data to what we already believe, right? So if you know you're looking for something, you're going to find that thing. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. If you're looking for something, you're going to find it. If you're looking for an opportunity, you will eventually find that opportunity. If you're looking for a fucking problem, you're going to find a problem. So as you are telling yourself a story, right? Because you already kind of believe this is what's happening. Then you start looking for the data that supports that story. Then you confirm it. And that story is now real. When in all honesty, you're probably missing a whole lot of other facets because you got that little bit of information that supports your theory. Now you know, right? When we stop asking questions and start taking mental notes, we start living from assumptions, from the stories that we made up, from the situations that made us feel a certain way, while not really understanding where they are. This is, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. This is us assigning meaning to a situation without really checking in to find out if that's really what's happening or if this is self-projection, right? Again, I said a minute ago that people change. Even if you don't believe people can change, they do. What made you feel loved at 25 may not make you feel loved at 40. And there's a really good way to look at that because everybody has wants and desires and things that they need. And if you're in your 40s and you look back at your 20s, you're not the same person. And if you can recognize that, there's no longer an argument that people can't change or don't change. What you wanted sexually can change, your ambitions, your insecurities. Parenthood fucking changes people. Success, failure, grief, aging, trauma, and even healing will change people. And then here's something else I want you guys to think about. We update our phones and other technology more than we update the information from our partners, right? From our partners. Guys, this is also one of those things where, once again, we operate from our own collected data, not the data that they give us. And using the technology aspect of things, when you update your phone or your computer or software or a firmware update on a camera or whatever technology that you're updating, you're not updating. You're downloading the data that they are giving you and installing it on your device so that it works properly. If you are curious and you are doing the check-ins and you are engaging with your person, you are now updating your software based off of the data from them to operate your life in a more effective manner. I know I'm a big fucking nerd, but when I created that analogy, I was like, yeah, it was good. So now that I've ended with a great little aphorism, I believe that's the word, aphorism, I'm going to move on to the next thing. So sometimes our partner has absolutely changed, but we have refused to allow that change to exist. That doesn't mean that the change didn't happen. It means that we have refused to see it. So maybe your husband used to be really irresponsible, right? Maybe he was bad with money. He was an alcoholic. He spent all of his free time gaming, whatever. Then over the last 5 years, he spent a lot of his time working on becoming a very dependable, man of his word, living with integrity kind of person. But every disagreement eventually ends with you talking to him like he's still that 21-year-old alcoholic gamer that was very irresponsible. The version of him in your head when you become wronged goes back to 21 years old, not 26 years old, and the last 5 years of work somehow gets negated because you have this fuck you story in your head. There's a resentment there that hasn't been worked through yet. Maybe your wife used to be jealous and insecure. She's worked on herself for years, but you still interpret every question through that old version of her. So when she's trying to be a part of your world, you get defensive and attack her. We actually see this a lot on the podcast. We can trap people inside of the identities that they have already outgrown. Here's a good way to think about this. All of us have that person in our lives that are not always in our lives, but are in the background at a distance that we view them as that thing. So like maybe it's a nephew who was 13 the last time you saw them, and the next time you see them, they're 22 and you're like, oh my fucking God, you grew up. Like what happened? You're a kid still. This shouldn't be a thing. Your cousins look older. The people that you used to work with that you saw at a job have aged a lot. Maybe they've gotten fat and had 15 kids. Like, who the fuck knows? But in our mind, we have a very specific version of these people based off of our last good or really bad interactions, right? And when you really think about how that makes you feel when it sees them, it also reflects back to you because bitch, you're aging also. Like you ain't that fucking spring chicken anymore. You might be if y'all are in your 20s. Congratulations, you fuckers. I'm not. So the idea of who they were becomes shattered because they have been gone a while. This happens in your relationships. The only difference is we choose to hold on to the older versions of the people in our relationships instead of updating the data all the time. And what's really wild is once I've decided who you are, I start interpreting your behavior through that lens. It's through the conclusion that I already have that you are irresponsible, that you are insecure, that if I want to come to you about something, I know there's about to be a big mishap or a fight or whatever the case may be. And like, is it really even worth it? What the fuck now? This is my story. This is what I believe based off of the data I've collected and the things that I have failed to see because there's insecurity or hurt or whatever there. Once I've decided that you're selfish, I will notice selfishness. Again, the things that you look for are the things that you will find. Once I've decided you're controlling, questions become control. If I've decided you're lazy and I see you resting, laziness. If I've decided that you're emotionally unavailable and you say, I need space, that looks like rejection. That looks like you don't love me anymore, right? When you are living through that cognitive bias, because we've talked about this a lot, you and Peach Burkett, she actually threw her last name in there, have opened my eyes to a new perspective or multiple perspectives. This helps when I ground myself and make myself think as a process. I wasn't taught how to regulate it as a kid. Now as a 26-year-old, it's one of the hardest things to do, having to check myself in the moment. It's the most important part. I do it better myself and my future relationships. Thank you both. You're welcome. That's called self-mastery, guys. That's exactly what that is, and that's amazing. Again, I will absolutely interact with the chat. I want to get to this document, and then we can have all kinds of cool talks. So again, once I understand that, I'm no longer responding to what you're doing today. I'm responding to the accumulative stories that I have developed and put together over the last 20 years of me, or 5 years or 2 years or 6 months of me collecting data about what is. So here's the question. How difficult is it to become a different person when the person closest to you continues to remind you who you used to be? You hear people say a lot of things like, if I'm going to be accused of it, I'm going to do it because I'm already paying the debt, or I'm already doing the time for the crime I didn't commit. I might as well go ahead and do the thing. If she constantly accuses me of cheating, why not go cheat? Like, that's a very rudimentary way of explaining what I asked, but there's a good question, and it should be something that you guys ponder on. There's also an opposite problem here, and that sometimes we assume someone has changed when they haven't. We project our growth onto them because we've grown. We think surely they understand that this is different. But we don't ask, right? There's no curiosity. This is the whole, well, they should know. How should they know? You have an understanding of something. I may not have an understanding of something. And that could be very common, bare minimum information for you, because that's something that you've done your entire life, and I've never even seen that before. So it's not common sense. It's lived life perspective. So again, curiosity, both directions, that absolutely matters. The first part of this is curiosity, guys. So you may know your wife's Starbucks order, her shoe size, her favorite restaurant, her birthday, favorite movie, and exactly how she likes her eggs, and still have no idea what she's struggling with right now. You can know everything about someone without knowing what's happening inside of someone. The Gottmans call this love mapping. For those of you who don't know, we are giant fans of the Gottman Institute. Love mapping is something that they talk about in a lot of their books. Love mapping is not about memorizing trivia about your spouse. It's about maintaining an ongoing understanding of their internal world. What are they worried about? Who are they becoming? What's currently exciting for them? What pressure are they carrying? What dreams do they have now? What are their goals now that life has changed? It's a constant, curious dialogue back and forth of the future and what is happening. When you guys think about it, dating is a big interview, right? The courting phase, the dating phase, it is an interview process. It's trying to find out exactly how compatible you may be with another person, and is this compatibility enough? Like, is this, if we're talking like, out of a 10-point checklist, if we're at a 6 or below, this isn't worth doing. If we're at a 7 or an 8, this could really work. If we're at a 9 or 10, let's go, right? But that's the point of the interview process. It's about trying to understand compatibility. If you treat your marriage or your long-term relationship as a constant interview, that initial curiosity, learning phase, excitement will never go away because you are remaining emotionally invested in somebody else's existence. So things to do that, you can say things like, tell me about yourself. I know it sounds really cheesy, but if you're at dinner with your partner and you haven't had a real conversation about anything other than your delegated responsibilities and your your after action reviews, and you are just going through the motions of dictating what your life has been like, having a conversation of tell me about yourself, that could be an open conversation of, well, I've been doing Pilates, or I've been working out again, and I'm starting to feel good about my body, and like there can be a real intimate conversation that comes from that, because you asked a question that matters to the person and not just to the superficial aspect of things. Thank you for the jewels, Christopher with a K. Appreciate that. Other questions you can say is, what do you want out of life? Tell me something about your childhood that I don't know yet. You'd be surprised at the things that people hold on to that they never discuss. What's your new biggest fear? What do you want our retirement to look like? Has that changed? So it's important to remember that just because you got married, the interview isn't over. The wedding seems to be the goal for most people, and that's the end point. The wedding is the beginning of the marriage. It's not the end point. It's the start of your life. So it's important to try to keep that in mind. All right, before I move on, I just want to say we can simultaneously change internally, communicate none of it, and then resent our partner for continuing to operate from the last information that we gave them. And I only put that on there because I want to talk about resentment for a second, guys. Resentment changes the lens that you view your people through. And again, I talked about this yesterday on the live stream. It might have been on a private live on the day before, but we all have different lenses that we view people through. You treat your best friend different than your partner. You treat your coworker different than your best friend. And like, even in like mentoring groups and coaching and the things that we have to interact with people, when we have a resentment built up towards somebody, we are going to find ourselves very irritable. We are not going to be giving the best version of ourselves. We're not going to live from a place of curiosity. We are going to be very, I know that this is who this person is, and they're not going to change, so why bother, right? It creates a lot of like little bitch mentality, like you're kind of quitting, right? And you're doing yourself a massive disservice for that. So that's the first part of that. That's curiosity. Next part of this is going to get into privacy. Anybody have any questions on the first part of that? Anything you guys want to get into before I move on? I would like to get a drink, and this is my opportunity to stall to do that. Somebody said, what happens when you ask those questions but never get an answer? Do they just sit in silence and stare at you, or do they say, I don't know? Because I don't know, and not answering the question is two different answers, right? Not answering the question and just sitting in silence and staring at you like you got three heads, that's a whole ass different situation. Somebody saying I don't know means they either haven't thought about it, or you're not safe enough to really have that conversation. And both of those are a problem for different reasons. I would probe when I hear I don't know. Maybe give some of your ideas and the things that you want and try to get them engaged. And as they're talking, shut the fuck up and really listen. Let them speak. Validate the things that they say. Try to ask questions that continue them speaking. What I hear you say is that correct? And then let them continue to talk. It goes a long way. You have to learn how to open up communications with people when you have consciously or subconsciously trained people not to speak. How do you guys get over the resentment? That's a great question. Honestly, that's an individual thing. That's not like a one size fits all. It's going to come down to communication. It's going to come down to having hard conversations about the things that built the resentment. And it's about having your partner respond well to it. Like, you have to find a way to actively talk to them. If you come to your person and you've got resentment and you attack them and they attack you back, that resentment's going to build. If you can come to them about what you're feeling and what's going on and they're receptive to it and they're able to start making changes and you're able to notice the change, that resentment will slowly fade. But you have to also be cognitive of the fact that you are having those problems. It's a lot to think about. It's when people ask open-ended basic questions like that, like, how do I get rid of resentment? How do I trust again? How do I get over infidelity? Like, there's no answer for that. We don't know. I don't know you. I don't know your situation. I don't know what your relationship looks like. I don't know where the resentment comes from. I don't know their hand in the story. Like, that's such an open-ended question that it's generic, and I can only give you generic answers for that. And those generic answers will always start with, you have to communicate. I recommend that everybody that listens to our podcast do the check-ins with their person. It's free. There's a PDF on our website. You can go download it. If you need more support beyond that, we have the Patreon and Discord. We have private mentoring groups. There's a whole lot there that goes into all of that. You can find all that on the website as well, tobebetter.com. That's my answer to that. Okay. So the next part of this is privacy versus secrecy in a relationship. Does marriage entitle your partner to everything? Phones, passwords, conversations, friendships, financials, location sharing. And where does reasonable privacy end and secrecy begin? I'm entitled to privacy can be legitimate, but it can also become a convenient cover for behavior that you know would hurt your partner. Thank you for the sun balloon jewels, Sophie. Appreciate that. You guys know the difference between privacy and secrecy? Privacy is having parts of yourself that aren't constantly observed, and secrecy is intentionally withholding information because disclosure would change your person's understanding, choices, or consent. Just because you get married doesn't mean that you are no longer an individual. We tell you guys all the time that you can live as one flesh and still have your own individual wants and desires and hobbies, and it's super fucking healthy to have that individuality. If you guys are up each other's ass 24/7 and everything that you do is together, eventually you are going to have nothing to talk about. There's nothing going to be new and exciting. Your conversations will be like, oh, I just thought about that time we went ziplining. Oh yeah, that was a great time. You were both there for that. It was a good time. Like, that's what I got. I don't know what to tell you. Those conversations become very shallow. They're not very meaningful. You might both smile for a second because it's a good memory. But if you have a new hobby and you're doing your hobby and you come back super excited because maybe you shot a perfect day at the range, or you took an amazing photo of a bee and a flower, or whatever, and you have open dialogue and your person is excited and supportive and is just happy that you're happy, it gives you guys a whole lot of things to continue to talk about. But you also have to be invested in their shit the way that they are in yours. You guys should be able to have private thoughts. Thank you for the stay hydrated, Jules. I appreciate that, Kalista. Where was I? You should be able to have private thoughts. Your journal, when you guys journal, should never be invaded. That should be yours. It should be solely yours. That's completely off limit to your partner. You should be able to have conversations with your friends that are not automatically your spouse's business. You should, some of you, I personally poop with the door open, but you should be able to take a shit without being, and you don't need an audience. I would like my wife in the bathroom when I poop because it gives me someone to talk to. Keeps me from doom scrolling. It's a great time. You don't surrender your personhood simply because you get married. But privacy can become a really convenient word when what you're actually protecting is your behavior. I deserve privacy. Okay, what exactly are you trying to keep private? And more importantly, why? There's a whole lot of people out there that have no problem handing their device to their wife. My wife can get on my computer, she can come get my phone right now and walk away, and I would just continue recording. There's absolutely nothing there for me to hide. I also know that if she did that, she's looking for conversations with other women. She's not going to open the conversation between me and Sean, because the conversations that Sean and I have, she knows are, what if he's telling me, what if my best friend is going through a really ugly moment? What if he's contemplating removing himself from the earthly realm and he just needed someone to confide in? And she grabbed my phone and went through that. And then the next time she saw him was like, "Oh, I hope you're feeling better. I know that you weren't wanting to be here anymore, blah, 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 blah." And he looked at me like, "What the fuck, dude? I told you that in private. Like, that was me bleeding on you because I needed a brother right now. And you fucking went and told her that." Like, there's a level of, it's not just your privacy that's being invaded when you're having conversations with people, it's the other people's lives as well. And we've talked about that on the podcast too, so I'm not going to go a whole lot further into that, but that's kind of important. Um, so if I don't want you reading my journal because it's where I process unfinished thoughts, that's privacy. If I don't want you reading my messages because I'm flirting with somebody and I know you'd have a problem with it, that's secrecy. If my friend tells me something deeply personal and asks me not to tell anyone, including my wife, protecting their confidence can be privacy. I've made it very clear that if you guys don't want my wife to know about something, don't tell me, because I'm not going to keep a secret. She's the most important thing to me. I will try to prevent from breaking that the covenant that we have made when you told me something in private. But I'm also not going to deny her if she pries. So that would look like, what are you guys talking about? He's kind of going through something right now and he's asked me not to talk about it. And I told him I wouldn't, but he knows that if you pry, I'm going to tell you. So if you really want to know, I'll tell you, but I did tell him I'm not going to break his silence. That's what that looks like. Where's Peaches? She left me. I'm just kidding. She's homeschooling the kids right now, guys. We Tuesday of this week, we started school and we are homeschooling our second and third grader. And from 4 in the morning until 11 in the morning, I have just me. I don't have anything to do other than like my gym stuff. I sit down and create these documents and I do all of these things. And I am enjoying having the opportunity to go live and hang out with people and try to just get information out there. This is very entertaining for me. I really fucking enjoy what I do. So while she's homeschooling, I'm back here not being around the kids, letting her do the thing, and I'm in the back half of the house. So IT guy said that's the next internet thing. Oh, it already is an internet thing. Everybody already thinks that we got divorced and that there's people out there who were saying that we were never married to begin with and a whole bunch of other stupid shit. So I just couldn't let that go because it was a good opportunity to be an ass. So um if I'm talking to that friend about problems in my marriage and deliberately deleting those conversations because I don't want her knowing how emotionally intimate we've become, that's also not privacy, right? It's something different. The behavior can almost look identical from the outside, but the intention behind the concealment is what matters. Something to ask your partner in a situation like this is, if you knew I wouldn't get angry, would you still need to hide it from me? When we see it clipped on TikTok, we'll know there's a rat in the chat. That's funny. We're actually live on YouTube. I'm sure it's going to get clipped and make its way around social media. I need to make sure that I remember what episode this is so that as I get that, I can be like, did you watch the entire thing or just the clip? I probably shouldn't even have done that. I just gave a whole bunch of idiots fuel for the fire. So anyways, so sometimes if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not protecting our privacy. We're protecting ourselves from the consequences of the choices that we've made. Here's another question. Does your behavior change if your partner walks into the room, right? That says a whole lot about things as well. If you're texting someone and your spouse walks over, do you tilt your phone away? Do you close the app? Do you then go back later and delete it? Do you change the subject? This is not automatically proof that someone's doing something wrong, but it's absolutely worth examining, both for you, the one doing it, and them. Like, why do you feel the need to close that app? That's one of those things that really creates a whole lot of insecurities in people. And real shit, sometimes somebody can walk in the room as you're putting your phone down, and they will think you're putting your phone down because they walked into the room. There's a whole lot of this is the story we tell ourselves in these moments, right? And it's important to recognize that too. And if you feel insecure in that moment, instead of just mentally clocking that they put their phone down, ask them, hey, like, I just walked into the room and saw you put your phone down, and I don't know if you were done on your phone or if I walked in and startled you and you put your phone down, but I'm feeling super fucking insecure right now over this. Like, I need to know that, like, you're not doing anything nefarious, right? Maybe this is a past trauma. Maybe it's recent changed behavior is making me feel like I can't trust you right now, but like, can we talk about that? Talk about it. What were you doing just now? I don't know, guys. You need to have the talks. And here's an even harder test. Would your partner, knowing the information that's going on, reasonably change a decision that they are currently making about your relationship? For example, imagine somebody says something like, my finances are private. And the other person's the one that handles all the finances, takes care of all the bills. And the person who said my finances are private has accumulated $40,000 in debt because they are irresponsible as fuck. And the person that handles the finances believes that they're putting money in savings and everything is good. Meanwhile, there's $40,000 of debt that no one is really aware of, right? Jonathan in the chat said, your book, No One Is Coming to Save You, has changed who I am. And I thank you for that, man. I love that. I fucking love that. You know, I don't really push my books. I wrote them. I got them out there. I got some signed copies out to people and did like the author thing because I wanted to be an author. And that was a lot of that was about getting the information out and being able to say I wrote a book. And I wrote 2 of them. And I very rarely promote them. Every once in a while, I'll post them to the Instagram story. But like, after I recorded the books and stuck them on YouTube for free so that people can sit down and just listen to it, I quit promoting that shit altogether. Like I think maybe in the last 8 months, I've posted it twice. I just don't think to do it. Anyways, once that becomes a thing, then your partner believes that they're financially stable and you've been hiding this debt. That's not privacy anymore. You are concealing things that would change the way that they view, conduct, and believe about the relationship. The same thing goes with infidelity, gambling, addiction. The same thing goes with maintaining contact with somebody that you have agreed to not have contact with. The question becomes less about, am I entitled to privacy, and more about, does withholding this information prevent my partner from making an informed choice? If you have a conversation about you not speaking to somebody, and it doesn't matter if this is a male or a female, and you know your person has a problem with that person, regardless of what that is. I don't care if they don't like them. I don't care if they don't like you liking them. I don't care if they don't like that you're in a group chat together or whatever it is. So this really could get into control and manipulation and a whole lot of other things. Let's assume you have a healthy relationship and just leave it at that. Peaches comes to me and goes, hey, I don't like the way that the interactions play out between you guys. And this has actually happened. So this is not a hypothetical thing. And I'm like, well, what about the hobby that we are all engaged in? I enjoy said hobby, and knowing that this is a thing is going to remove me from the group of people, not just that person, and the hobby that I enjoy doing. And it took a little bit of time. We had a lot of conversations about it, but eventually I just removed myself from that hobby altogether. I no longer associate with that entire group of people. And it wasn't because she was trying to control me. It was because I could tell that every time there was an interaction with this other person, it bothered her. We had a conversation. She explained how she felt and then left it to me to make the decision to do the right thing. And I did, right? This is not control. It's not manipulation. This is a man looking out for the emotional well-being of his woman. Protect, provide, lead. Protection and provision does not just mean physical safety and financial. So when you understand that there are deeper levels to all of this and you want to be a good man, it makes it a whole lot easier to do the thing. And ladies, it's no different for you. You guys have your own structure in your relationships and things that you're supposed to bring. And if you are asking your man not to like thirst traps and you're posting thirst traps, right? It's a big fucking problem. So, then you've got the other side of this. Then you've got the other side of this because transparency can become control as well. I shouldn't have to hide anything can turn into give me your password, share your location, let me read your messages, prove where you're going, show me who you're talking to, take a picture of yourself, right? FaceTime me so I know you're actually there. That's not trust. That's not belief. That's not safety. That's surveillance. That's surveillance, right? If you need constant evidence that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, we don't have trust. What we have is verification. That's exhausting. That's exhausting for the person who's attached to it. It's exhausting for the person who's experiencing it. It's exhausting for the social circles around it. If you are at dinner with a couple of your friends and every 5 minutes your phone is going off and you're interrupting the conversation and you're taking selfies and it's this constantly and look at who's here and here's a picture of my food and here's the sign of Chili's and here's a picture of my tire parked in this parking spot with Chili's in the background. Like, your friends aren't going to want to go hang out with any. I wouldn't want to hang out with somebody like that. I don't want to go and be attached to a digital device and a screen when I'm supposed to be having real life social interactions with the people I care about. It's fucking exhausting. And sometimes verification is temporarily appropriate. After infidelity, for example, transparency can become part of the rebuilding trust. Someone who has been deceptive does not get to demand immediate blind trust simply because they apologized. You gonna make it? You sure? All right. Is it recess time? Yeah, they need a break. Okay. I don't know where I was at, so I'm just gonna. So, but did I read that? I did read that. So, ideally, transparency can help rebuild trust until surveillance becomes unnecessary. In the case of infidelity and major breaches of trust, I think that surveillance is necessary as part of the trust rebuilding process. The problem is I mean, there's a lot of problems with that. The surveillance aspect, we've done this long enough now that we've done episodes on cheating apps. I know how easy it would be for anyone to do nefarious shit from their phone if that's who they are. And having full access and being able to go in and look and do the thing, it would not be hard for somebody to hide things if they really wanted to be that person. And if they are continuing to do those things, they didn't have remorse and really want to change. They have just found another way to attempt to not get caught. That says a lot about their character and their integrity, what the relationship really means. And like, that's a whole other conversation in itself. So if you have the transparency until surveillance is no longer needed, if you allow the surveillance to continue beyond that point, what you have is a prison guard inmate situation. And when you have that, there's no way to have real intimacy about the relationship anymore. And I don't just mean sexy time. I mean true intimate moments. There's always going to be a level of control and insecurity, a lot of ugly that comes along with that. You guys think that married couples should have each other's phone passwords? Real shit, if I wasn't worried about a police officer going through my phone and seeing all the naked photos I have of my wife on my phone, I wouldn't even lock my shit. I just wouldn't. I have locks in place on my phone for my Fourth Amendment. Beyond that, I don't give a fuck. I don't. So all of you who said yes, why? Why do you feel, well, people are saying for emergencies. Is that your only answer? Or do you think that it's so that you can dig through their shit? Like I'm curious what that looks like. If my phone is ringing and I'm in the shower and it's somebody, like it doesn't say spam call, I'll tell Peaches to answer my phone. I don't give a fuck. If my phone goes off and it's across the room and I'm not wearing my watch and I see it's a text message, I'm gonna ask her who that was and what do they want. Respond to it. Like I don't give a fuck. Which is why I'm asking why this is a thing, because I would be pissed if she went through my wallet or my backpack and there's nothing in there, but everything is exactly where I want it to be. And if you start moving shit, it's like touching my desk. That's really weird when you think about it. Like if my pen's not where I left my pen, it infuriates the fuck out of me. Spicy brain. That's the thing for me, guys. Okay, so then for those of you who don't want, regardless of what your answer was for the password thing, what happens if your spouse asks for your phone? Would you just give it to him? Would it start a fight? Would it just be like, what do you need? I'm going to ask her what she wants as she hands me the phone, because if she's looking for something specific, I can get to it a whole lot faster than her. I'm an iPhone user. She's an Android user. So like real shit that matters. I tried to move to an iPhone or to an Android and she had my phone in her hand more than I did. I don't know how to do any of this shit. Like I fuck Androids. I have been on an iPhone for like 10 years now. And trying to move from platform to platform, nope. No, I'm good. That's why I don't use Apple. That's why I still use Windows shit, even though my phone is an iPhone. I don't do any Mac anything. And real shit, there's a lot of Mac devices that I would love to have, but I'm not trying to fuck with their operating system. Having to press an optional button or an extra button to do shortcuts and stuff, like, it's not worth it to me. Somebody said the only thing I wouldn't want my man to see is my calculator, because then he could see that I can't do simple math. You realize that there's a calculator cheating app, right? And it's an actual thing, and you have to enter in a mathematical equation to open the app so that you can see all of the pictures, and it's like a whole locked cheating thing. That was one of the most commonly used cheating apps. Yeah, she said jokes. I'm just saying, I actually know that Peaches can't do basic math. I'm the math person because I deal with finances and because I had to know weights and measurements when I was younger. Yep. So if they ask to look at your phone, and why are they asking to look at your phone, I think are two very different conversations. If Peaches asked for my phone and I got nervous, right? Or I started to feel uneasy or panicky, she would feel that your brain and your heart puts off two separate EMF fields. And if you walk into a room and there's tension in the room and nobody has said a fucking word yet, you feel it. You feel it. It's like walking into the mist. You don't know what the fuck is in that mist, but something ain't right and you're about to get eaten. You feel it, right? So she would feel that anxiety. She would feel that something's not right. And like, that could create a problem. Now, on the other side of that, if every time we went to bed at night, she was like, let me see your phone, that would create an issue all in itself, because now I feel like you just want to fucking know every facet of my life and like, you don't trust me. And what's the point of being in a relationship if there is no trust there? We've talked about this since season 1. If I'm doing something that makes you feel like you need to dig through my phone, the relationship is done. That doesn't mean I'm going to end the relationship because you asked to go through my phone. It means that you don't fucking trust me anymore. I don't trust you, or whatever the case may be. And without trust, there's no relationship. There has to be some sort of trust and respect as a base concrete foundation for you to build everything on top of. Without that, there's no relationship there. So like, that's been the conversation. I may not have worded it that great in the beginning because I knew what the fuck I was talking about. Didn't quite have the words for other people to get it. first video I ever did on TikTok that had more than 1 million views on it was people ripping me apart because I had said that shit. So have a good day, Jonathan. Thanks for buying my book. So one person's secrecy and another person's insecurity can create exactly the same behavior. Phone checking while requiring completely different solutions. And sometimes they absolutely feed off of each other. One partner hides things because the other is intrusive. And then the other one becomes intrusive because their partner hides things. Don't open that door back up. Our kids are at the running in and out phase of the house. And we have mosquitoes right now that are really, really bad on the property for some reason, which is really weird because we have no standing water on the property. But they're fucking vicious. And if that door stays open for more than like a quick in and out, the whole house gets fucking mosquitoes in it. And I've got that blood type that makes me taste like Sweet Baby's Ray barbecue sauce to mosquitoes. And oh my God, do they fucking wreck me. And it's always on my feet and on my scalp or in like the weird parts of my hand. Oh, I can't stand them. When I finally get to have a conversation with God, him and I are going to beef over these mosquitoes. My wife is hot. She just looked at me. Okay. So one person hides things because their partner is intrusive. The other becomes intrusive because their partner's hiding things. Now each person uses the other's behavior to justify their own insecurity. You snoop through everything. That's because you delete shit, right? Like, I delete shit because you freak out about everything. I freak out because you're always hiding it. That's the fight. And both people feel justified. They both feel like they're right. And now you're at an impasse where you're defending yourself against somebody that you claim you love and trust because there's resentment and insecurity being had. It just continues. Round and round and round it goes. And then eventually, nobody will remember where it started. They only know that it's happening, and that the fact that it's happening is a problem. Now you add friendship into the mix, and it makes this even messier. If your friend tells you, don't tell your wife, does that mean that you automatically owe your friend or owe your wife to keep that secret or not keep that secret? I don't think that your spouse automatically owns information that somebody else entrusted you with. I also think that if you have a relationship like Peaches and I'm not going to keep something from her, even if it's not my story to be told, because I've made it very clear, if you tell me something, I'm going to tell my wife. This is not about trust. It's about me not wanting to ever keep something from her or feeling like I have to pick between my wife or my best friend. So this is one of those things where if somebody's like, hey, can I talk to you? If they are close to me, they already know that Peaches and I have that type of relationship. If they're not close to me, it doesn't really matter because we're not close, right? So let's say that you think that you should maintain that privacy because you agreed to give your word. Your word fucking matters. If you tell me not to say anything and I tell you I'm not going to say shit, doesn't matter who asks, I'm not telling. What if that thing is information that could directly impact your wife? Well, what if it's something that could hurt them and you have given your word not to do it and then you break that word, right? So like, it's not this, the point of that. This is not black and white. This is not an easy wham, bam, thank you, ma'am answer. These are things to make you think. Shout out to Gina for subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Let's say you're regularly discussing your marriage with someone and your spouse already feels uncomfortable about it, or you're sharing emotional intimacy with another person that you've stopped sharing with your spouse. At that point, it's a private friendship, but that becomes a real weak argument, right? This opens up the conversation to emotional affairs, emotional cheating, and eventually it's very likely to lead to physical intimacy. It could be a touch, it could be a kiss, it could be a hug, it could be a weird, inappropriate brushing up against each other, or full on booty time. Like, this is the steps that leads to those things. So think about this. Is there someone outside of your relationship who knows things about you that you are intentionally preventing your partner from knowing about? It's just something I want you guys to ponder, because it says a lot about where you're at in your relationship, right? I'm not going to answer it for you. There's nothing else to say about that. I just want you guys to sit with that question. The next thing is, shout out to the 125 people on YouTube and the 23 people on Facebook watching right now. I appreciate that, guys. The next one, part of this is location sharing. Some people share locations because it's convenient. When Peaches and I got together, I didn't even know how to use that feature on my phone. I have never shared my location with another human being ever. I think that's an invasion of privacy. Like, it's not happening. Got on the motorcycle one day and she's blowing my fucking phone up. She's like, "Where are you? You should have been home already, blah, 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 blah." I'm worried. I pulled over. She's like, "Can you turn on your location sharing so I can see where you're at? If you're not moving, maybe you went down." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that. No big deal." I just fucking went ahead and turned it on. Well, she had to walk me through it. She had to walk me through how to turn on the location sharing. And I did. And until she went back to Android, she had my location all the time. It's one of those things that, like, it doesn't impact my life for her to know where I am, because I'm not doing anything wrong. And the argument isn't, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be worried about it. It doesn't matter if she knows where I am. Even, I guess I could say, even if I am doing something wrong, I would rather her know where I am and know that I'm alive than fucking be worrying that I went down on my motorcycle, or calling hospitals or jails to find out where I'm at because I should have been home an hour ago, right? Like, this also speaks to your inability to be respectful enough to your person to be honest with them about what's going on and where you're at. It's a whole ass conversation. Anyways, so some people share locations because it's convenient. You can see how far away I am. If I'm still at the store, if I'm driving, whatever. But there's a huge difference between access and monitoring. I can see where you are isn't the same as I need to know where you are. If I'm turning off location sharing and it causes immediate accusations, that's a conversation that needs to be had. I think people sometimes misunderstand the trust that needs to be present in the absence of boundaries, right? Trust is not, you should trust me enough that I can do whatever I want. Trust is closer to, enough about how I behave that this shouldn't bother you, right? Transparency isn't, you have the right to inspect everything I do. It's, I'm not deliberately constructing a false version of reality to gaslight you or manipulate you or whatever. You can have privacy while being honest. It's much harder to maintain secrecy without eventually requiring deception. Guys, all of this deception, lies, all of that shit requires a whole bunch of maintenance. You have to omit something. You're changing a part of the story. You have to delete something. You have to remember what you said, because believe me, they're going to remember. And if it's true and it's something you experienced, it's a whole lot easier to remember than some bullshit fucking lie that you made up in the moment. Then you have to defend why they shouldn't have asked. Like, this is just a fucking mess. The original behavior might have been small, but maintaining the secret starts changing the relationship. There's also the question of agreements. Different couples legitimately have different standards. One couple may share passwords, another may not. One couple shares locations, another thinks that it's weird. One couple is comfortable with friendships with exes, and another isn't. The mistake is assuming that there's one universal rule for all healthy couples of what they should do. What matters is what did we agree to? When you guys start courting and you decide to move into the dating phase, when you move into the dating phase, there should be a conversation of expectations. I don't want you going to the bar. I don't want you posting pictures of yourself in a bikini on the internet. I don't want you watching porn. I don't want you going to the bar, right? Like, There's a back and forth of all of the things that is to be expected in this new covenant that you're making with somebody, even if it is just agreeing to be monogamous with each other in the initial dating phase. These conversations set the pace, the expectations, and the tone for the relationship moving forward. And this needs to happen when you move in. It needs to happen at the engagement. It needs to happen when you exchange your vows. Like, it needs to happen as you renew your life expectancy. These conversations need to be continuously agreed upon. New information is going to come up. New ways to live your life is going to come up. New technology is going to come up, and you are going to have to reinvest your time into your relationship. If we've agreed that flirting with other people is unacceptable, I don't get to secretly flirt and then defend myself by saying, well, you invaded my privacy. If we've never agreed to share locations, you don't get to demand mine and then say that it's suspicious because I'm refusing. Healthy boundaries will require real conversation. So if you hear something like, if you trust me, you shouldn't need to see my phone, fair. But on the other side of that, if there's nothing happening on your phone that threatens our relationship, why are you so terrified of me seeing it? Neither statement proves anything. I actually think that if worded differently, this could create a new curiosity that would allow you to have deeper conversations. So instead of give me your fucking phone, you can say something like, something about your behavior is off lately. I'm feeling insecure. And the way that you've been using your phone is making me feel like you're hiding something. Can we talk about it? Instead of you're crazy, you need to trust me, you can say something like, what specifically have I been doing that is making you question whether or not I'm being honest with you or that I'm trustworthy? Why are you all of a sudden questioning my character? That gives you an opportunity to have a conversation without it becoming a fight. It could still become a fight. It could. But at least now you're trying to understand and you're being honest about things, right? Or hopefully you're being honest. I don't fucking know. So what information does the person, you can ask yourself, what information does the person I've chosen to build a life with reasonably deserve to know? Maybe the line between privacy and secrecy is that privacy protects individuality and secrecy protects information. Then we have to ask ourselves why that information needs protecting. Because if you don't owe your partner access to every thought, conversation, or private moment you have, but if you're withholding something because you know the truth would change how they understand the relationship, it's probably not a privacy conversation anymore. Oh, privacy was a lot longer of a conversation than curiosity was. I already know mine. No location sharing, no posts on social media, no going through each other's phones. There would be big ones for me. I would want trust to develop that enough. So how does that look though? Like you have to, I totally think that that's all fair. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that, but how do you build that trust? Let's say that, guys, we live in a world where people are fucking promiscuous and like there is so much attention seeking from everyone online. And this goes for males and females. You guys posting pictures of yourselves, you don't do that because you want to update your profile photo. You do that because you want to be recognized. Sometimes you might have gotten a good photo and be like, this is a great picture of me and I'm going to post this instead. Maybe that's a thing, right? You're still hoping that it's a better version of you than what was previously there, which speaks to ego in its own. So like, real shit, like how's that a thing? These ads are killing me. I just missed your response. This is going to get reused as content, so it'll be edited and put back out there. I just wanted to record it live, so I apologize for you guys having the patience to deal with the ads. I need a second, guys. Jeff Graham is texting me about shop stuff. This is business. It needs my attention. Jeff Graham just asked me a question. I'm responding to him.
Okay.
What's up?
Our daughter was in there getting super frustrated about what she was working on. Like, I'm helping her, and like we busted out the dictionary so she could find the words and all these kinds of things. And she was like, "It's not giving me the green check mark." And I was like, "Oh, well, finish it again. Bring it to me before it X's it out, and we'll try to figure it out." She does it again and does the same thing, and she's like, "Still don't have the green check mark." And I was like, "Well, bring me your computer. Let me look at it." I don't know what the fuck she was doing. It wasn't her schoolwork. She completed all of her schoolwork yesterday for today and didn't tell me.
So what was she doing?
I just later on things.
Hmm. If she's able to get through her work that fast and it's that easy for her, I really think we should skip her to third grade.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can make that decision on our own, but if she's able to do all of her schoolwork in 15, 20 minutes and is done for the day,
Yeah.
she should be doing third grade work or something that actually makes her slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Or even writing out her spelling words with definitions would be great. You know, teaching her to be articulate would be fucking great, you know, just amazing. But I don't know.
Okay.
I would love to be able to get them both at the same grade level on their schooling so they can graduate at the same time too. But yeah.
All right. That's it.
Okay. What is the name of your tattoo shop in case me and the wife are in the area and want a new tattoo? It's Sacred Rites Tattoo, Rites. Sacred Rites as in rituals in Port Charlotte, Florida. Chris, thank you for everything. Because of you, I understood how to communicate my relationship and manage to have everything under control. Love that. Love that. All right. So the next part of this is, can attraction survive familiarity? This is going to be an interesting conversation. Can you skip a grade in homeschool? I don't fucking know. But if she's doing second grade work and she's done at 8:15 and we started at 8 a.m., she can absolutely do third grade stuff and get ahead. I'm sure that's something that somebody else is going to be able to do the thing. Okay. So we'll get to the chat, guys. I am absolutely going to hang out with you guys in the chat after I'm done with my document. So we talk about love lasting. We talk about roommate phases, honeymoon phases, the 7-year itch, and all of the things that are cliche conversations in the sphere of the podcast. We talk about desire. We talk about all kinds of crazy things. Lots of good, fun, informative shit. But what happens when your partner becomes familiar, predictable, and safe? Does maintaining attraction require intentional effort? How much responsibility do we have for remaining attractive to our partner, physically, emotionally, and behaviorally? I was going to go down a whole rabbit hole of women who no longer get dressed up and done up for their man. And as I was thinking about this document while I was in the shower, it dawned on me that over the last 6 months, I've only put on regular pants once, and it was so that we could work, put my boots on and did everything so that she could see me not looking like a bum. And today I'm wearing jeans and got my shoes on. I made myself look presentable. And when she walked in the room, she saw me put my jeans on and she went, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to look good for you because I realize I wear harem pants all day, every day." And I would imagine that I look quite bummy to you from time to time. She says, "Well, I like your style." And I'm like, "I'm sure you do, but there's a difference between me being comfortable and looking like a fucking house bum and us going out and doing things in public and me looking presentable." Because even when we go out and like if we were to go get sushi or somewhere, I'm wearing my harem pants. That's what I wear. It's comfortable. I enjoy it. But if she wanted to go to a show or something, I would have to get done up, right? So like, is it really that big of a deal for me to put on some extra clothes and kind of do the thing to look good so that when she walks into the room, she goes, "Oh," right? That said everything that I needed to know. She's obviously seeing the harem pants and the t-shirt thing, and there's object permanence there now. And just me putting on jeans and shoes instead of being barefoot was enough for her to take a step back and look at me a second time. It's important to think about. In the beginning of a relationship, attraction gets a whole lot of help from oxytocin and dopamine. On top of that, everything is new. You don't know exactly what they're going to say. You don't know what they're going to wear. You don't know if or when they're going to text you. You don't know where the relationship is going. The uncertainty, the anticipation, and the discovery is fucking exciting. It is exciting. When you are doing something, going about your life, and that new relationship is happening, and somebody shoots you a text message, and it's a dirty text message, and you're like, oh, I'm being thought about. That shit can happen way into your marriage. She waits until I'm in the most inopportune moments and she fucking knows it to send me dirty photos. I was at the bank one day like we have a credit union that everyone in that bank fucking knows me, like from the branch manager all the way down to the new employees. And I'm standing there having a conversation and my phone goes off and I open it and it's her butt. And I'm like, oh my God. And then more pictures. And I'm like, I can't do this right now. Like, oh my God. I got in the car and I was like, thank you for that. But oh my God, I think everyone in the bank just saw your butt, right? Like it's exciting. It's no different than having that new courting phase where you're getting the random good day text messages, right? So you have all of that. You've got the good times, and then life starts to happen and you get to know my person. Like I was talking about earlier, you know how they order their food. You know which position they prefer to sleep in. You know the sound they make when they're irritated. You've seen them sick, constipated, exhausted, stressed, broke, angry, insecure, and half dressed, looking for a missing sock. Somebody said, so what I'm hearing is send him dirty pics randomly while he's at work. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Men, if you're women listening to this podcast, I'm doing you a solid right now. Ladies, send the fucking text messages. We love that shit. Not only is it great to see the women that we have decided to spend the rest of our life with, most of us understand that you actually took the time. Like, you're not going to just quick send a photo and go. You're going to take multiple pictures, look for your best angle, and then send that shit to your man. That is not a quick done. That shit takes effort, and we are aware of it. We know how y'all are with your pictures. Yep. Anyways, that kind of familiarity can create incredible intimacy, but it can also kill desire. Do you think that you can feel deeply safe with someone and still experience them as exciting? You can, but it has to be intentional. One of the problems with long-term relationships is that we stop seeing our partner as someone we are still trying to attract. Dating becomes possession. We go from, I want this person to choose me, to this person has already chose me. And honestly, most people quit trying at that point. We've said in the beginning of this podcast, and it's still something that we say today, you should be chasing your partner. You should be courting them. You should be fawning over them. There should be a whole lot of, I want you. I don't need you. I want you, right? And that could be a facet of things. I'm about to get very vulgar. I'm going to just move on. When we're dating, we groom ourselves, right? We flirt, we ask questions, we fucking pay attention. We plan things, we touch more, we wear things that we know the other person is going to like. We make an effort to be interesting. Marriage becomes the place that all of that slowly disappears. And it's choice. So my question is do you think that we have a responsibility to remain attractive to the person that we are asking to desire us? I'm very curious how many of you actually believe that you have a responsibility to remain attractive to the person that you're married to. A whole lot of people, if this was a TikTok thing, the amount of fucking feminists that would be in the chat right now losing their goddamn mind. Yep. Yeah, man. And that's exactly it. Yep. If you've put on 50 pounds, stop dressing up, stop shaving, stop getting your hair cut, or styling your hair, your hygiene has gone to shit, do you think that your person's going to desire you? If I didn't wear deodorant and I didn't go to the gym and I only ate fucking ho-hos and bonbons and funny bones and all the little Debbie snap cakes, and my teeth are starting to rot out of my fucking head, and I haven't shaved my head in months, and like all you can see is my big George Carlin fucking bald spot, and my clothes don't fit anymore, and I got fucking Cheeto dust in my fingernails and stains all over the place. Do you think my wife is going to look at me and be like, oh yeah, that's what I want? She's going to look at me and go, you're fucking disgusting. What did you do to yourself? That's the thing. When was the last time that you saw your person and inadvertently smiled at them? Right? Not like a, oh, they're looking, I should flaunt something or like get their attention. But you guys seen the TikToks of the angry person And it's like when my wife or my husband sees me and they're just mean mugging like fucking crazy, and then they see their person and they light the fuck up. When was the last time you lit up like that for your person? That genuine excitement is fucking everything to us. To men, I can't speak for women. I would imagine that you guys dig that shit too, but like not seeing your wife for a while and her running to your arms, like that's some fucking like movie rom-com shit that like every man secretly desires. You guys know why thirst traps get so much attention online? Like why it's such an effective marketing ploy. You look at all the influencers that are trying to sell you something, it's almost always sexual. And if it's not sexual, they do something sexual in the beginning to get you to watch the video. And the reason for that is that it's people who take care of themselves. They're dressed up for attention. They're smiling or trying to be seductive. And for someone who is disconnected in a relationship for a long time that hasn't experienced it, it hooks us. Like if you've been in a 20-year sexless marriage, you've been fucking miserable and you're doom scrolling and something comes up that makes you feel something, your brain feels that something before you even register what you're watching. That's why sex sells and works the way that it does. So yes, I do think that we have a responsibility to remain attractive, but I also think that attraction is much bigger than your appearance. You can be physically beautiful and become deeply unattractive through contempt, criticism, entitlement, resentment, helplessness, constant anger, emotional absence, or treating your spouse like a parent instead of a partner. You could have the most sexy person on the planet, and if any of those things align, they're not sexy to you anymore. That shit goes right out the window. Sometimes I'm not attracted to my husband anymore really means I feel like his mother. Sometimes I'm not attractive to my wife anymore really means every interaction between us has become criticism, logistics, kids, bills, problems. I just didn't want to say nagging. I wanted actual examples there, but nagging was the word I was going to use when I wrote this. Attraction has a physical component, but also has a relational one, and always has some sort of emotional subconsciousness attached to it. There's also a difference between loving someone and desiring someone. We want those to be the same thing, but they're not. You can deeply love someone and feel very little sexual desire toward them. You can also feel an intense sexual desire to someone and not love them. This is basic fucking duh. But I felt the need to say it. And you could feel that and not want to build a life with them, right? Just because it's only a sexual attraction and nothing else. So what do you do? What helps maintain that desire? First and foremost, I believe it's admiration. Admiration to your person is one of the biggest attraction factors. Sometimes attraction spikes when we see our partner doing something that they're good at, right? Maybe they're a natural leader and you see them walk into the room and take control of everything and just fucking do the thing. And you're like, oh, whoa, right? Sometimes it's seeing your wife be a good mother to your kids and knowing that you picked a partner that's going to raise your children in a really good way. Sometimes it's them accomplishing something. Sometimes it's just the way that they confidently carry themselves, interacting with other people, or simply looking different than they did yesterday. In those moments, we stop seeing the person who forgot to unload the dishwasher and we see them as a separate person again. Familiarity can make us stop really looking at our partner. I actually think that for some of us or some people, having object permanence, even with their wife and kids, becomes a thing. They believe that they're never going to lose this thing that they've built. And that can be a problem in itself, right? So when was the last time that you actually looked at your spouse instead of simply being around them? That's part of object permanence, is actually looking at them, taking 5 seconds and really taking them in. See if they've gained weight. See if they've lost weight. See if they've got a pimple. See how their shoes fit. See if they're wearing different clothes than they normally wear. Are they wearing different jewelry? Like really take inventory of your person. It takes a few seconds. It's not hard to do. Novelty matters as well. but it doesn't have to mean some wild sex or constant vacations. It can be a different restaurant, a new hobby, getting dressed up, having a conversation you've never had, going somewhere without the kids, or doing something slightly outside of your routine. Familiarity isn't necessarily the enemy, stagnation is. You can know someone incredibly well and still be curious about them. You can be married for 25 years and still meet new versions of each other as both of you are continuing to constantly grow. And honestly, that growth matters. Purpose is attractive. Confidence is attractive. Curiosity is attractive. Competence is fucking sexy. Taking care of yourself is attractive. Passion is attractive. Having something to talk about besides the kids, jobs, electric bills, honey-do lists is also an attraction. Healthy couples also need separateness. If we do everything together, have all the same friends, hobbies, routines, and experience, there's nothing left to discover. I talked about that earlier, so I'm just going to skip over that paragraph. This doesn't mean that you need to create distance or have jealousy. It just means that remaining a person. Have interest, have goals, have something that you are passionate about, and then come back to the relationship with something new to talk about. The physical side deserves an honest assessment as well, guys. Bodies change, right? Pregnancies happen, kids happen, age, hormones, sickness, fucking car accidents, stress. All of it can leave some sort of change to the body. Nobody gets to demand that their spouse remains 25. It does not work that way. Your body is going to move on, and you just have to fucking do the best that you can to keep up. It's also dishonest, right? To pretend that physical attraction doesn't matter. You can be madly head over heels in love with your person and no longer find them attractive because they've let themselves go, or something has changed in their appearance. Maybe they got lip filler and you think it's fucking stupid, or whatever that thing is that you don't like that they did anyways. I don't think that it's fair to say to your person that you owe me a certain appearance, right? I think that we owe our relationship some effort of taking care of ourselves, though. Hygiene, grooming, health, being able to properly and effectively move your body, clothing, sleep, sexual energy, and how we present ourselves absolutely matters. Not because our spouse owns our body, but because romantic relationships involve attraction. It's necessary. So can someone demand desire without helping create the conditions where desire can exist? I don't think that they can. I think that this is an ebb and flow, and we have stated over and over again that women dictate the emotional intimacy or all of the intimacy in the relationship. And every time I say this, somebody's got something to say. And even Peaches and I have disagreed with about this on the podcast. And I had to explain my position, and then she got it, right? I believe that the physical, emotional, spiritual intimacy in the home is 100% dictated by the woman. However, if a man is not doing what is necessary to provide safety and security inside of that relationship, she's no longer responsible for the intimacy because he is failing to do the thing that is necessary for her to dictate the intimacy within the relationship. There is an ebb and flow, right? So I think it's important to recognize that we have our roles to play, and if you're playing them properly, things should fall into place. If you hear somebody say, my spouse never wants sex, what's happening outside of the bedroom, right? That matters. Are you affectionate? Are you constantly arguing? Does your spouse feel emotionally safe with you? Do they feel desired or merely a hole that's trying to be filled or used? Are you trying to use your partner as a physical masturbation, right? Like, yeah. Are they exhausted? Are you carrying your share? Do you flirt? Can you trust? Can you touch each other without every single touch turning into initiation? Sexual attraction doesn't only happen in bed. Sometimes foreplay begins days earlier and how you treat each other, right? Especially if you guys got kids. I have to hop off, but I just wanted to say thank you. I asked for advice about feeling guilty for not contributing financial yesterday. Hubs and I had an amazing conversation after our kiddos went to bed. Just wanted to say thank you. You and Peach are really out here doing a thing. I remember that conversation yesterday, and good for you for having the fucking conversation, man. That's awesome. I love that. I know you got to leave, but did it make you feel better? Do you feel like you're doing more than what finances dictate? God, I hope you didn't leave. I'm so curious. Can you, if you don't have time to answer, send an email. Just tobebetterco@gmail.com. I would love to hear how that went. Anyways, I'm going to get to the chat, guys. I just saw that from yesterday and I wanted to touch on it. I'm almost done with this and then we'll interact in the comments. Shout out to the 145 people on YouTube who are still watching. All right. Desire also suffers when sex becomes an obligation. If every hug becomes initiation, someone may eventually stop hugging. If every rejection becomes a fight, sex becomes loaded with pressure. If sex becomes one person's proof that they are loved, the other person can start feeling responsible for regulating their self-worth through that sexual access. That's a whole ass thing in itself. That pressure will 100% kill the desire that they're using it to try to create, right? Predictability matters too. Long-term couples can fall into a script. Same time, same place, same initiation, same sequence. Predictability can be comforting, but it also becomes boring. The answer isn't necessarily to become more adventurous. Sometimes it's simply continuing to talk. Even if you guys are super busy and you have Wednesday is sexy night and you know that's going to be a thing, you can do things leading up to sexy time to drive that want and desire. It shouldn't just be like, oh, we're going to bed, sexy time. That's not exciting. Like just saying that makes me want to gag. That's the, like, at that point I would just go to sleep. That's not even an exciting thing. That's lame. That's real lame shit. So what do you like now? What has changed? What do you miss? What makes you feel desire? What shuts you down? What feels playful? What feels like obligation? These are all things that are really well done inside of a check-in. If you guys are not familiar with the check-ins, tobebetter.com, resources tab, scroll down to have you checked in lately and download the PDF. There's an entire playlist on the YouTube channel where you can watch how to do the check-ins. We give a whole lot of real information, I versus you statements. There's a lot. There's probably 4 hours of content for you guys to watch through that will help you effectively do the check-ins. And if you do them enough and you learn how to communicate, you won't need them anymore. You can do mini check-ins every time something doesn't quite feel right, and your life will get really, really smooth. So the check-ins are not just about understanding what's going on in life. It's about learning how to effectively communicate in the moment. So we ask these questions while we're dating. That's absolutely normal during the courting phase and dating phase. And however, as we get married and life goes on, we tend to not really, it just kind of stops, right? Because again, it becomes your person. You know these things, but you don't really, right? You just have stories that you've backed up with the data that you've collected that verifies what you believe you already knew, and now you're moving about your life. Talked about that at the beginning of this episode. Resentment is another major piece of this. It is very hard to desire somebody that you are chronically angry with. If your husband has become synonymous with disappointment, attraction can suffer. If your wife has become synonymous with rejection, same thing. Attraction is going to suffer. Sometimes couples try to solve a sexual problem with sexual solutions, and that's not what the problem is, right? It just seems that way because you want more of that thing, and the problem is more relational. You don't always need lingerie. Sometimes you need an apology. Sometimes you need sleep. Sometimes you need to stop treating each other like shit. Sometimes you just need to feel respected again, right? And then there's aging. Guys, getting old sucks ass. At 45 years old, my biggest regret in life is not keeping up with my mobility work and waking up and being stiff the way that I am in the morning. And it's not stiff in a good morning sexy time. It's stiff in that it hurts to get out of bed to take a piss. If I would have done, after my motorcycle accident, the mobility work necessary to maintain the flexibility that I had, my body would be a whole lot better. So as I'm touching on aging, I just have to tell you guys to do your fucking mobility work. Long-term attraction has to evolve because neither of you will be 25 forever. If your definition of attraction never matures, you're going to lose a fight that you can't win. At some point, attraction becomes partly about the body and partly about everything that body represents. It's the woman who raised the children beside you. It's the man who stood beside you through loss. That's the person whose face carries decades of a shared life. There needs to be real appreciation that happens there. I said that a minute ago. Appreciation matters. So maybe the real question isn't, can attraction survive familiarity? Maybe it's, can attraction survive neglect? Maybe the question is not, can attraction survive familiarity? Maybe it's, can attraction survive neglect? Because familiarity isn't necessarily what kills desire. Being taken for granted does. Stopping flirting, stopping growing, stopping the touches, stopping the admiration, becoming roommates, treating romantic connections like it should simply maintain itself. All of these things do. We spend a lot of times asking, is my partner still attracted to me? Maybe we should be asking, am I still giving my partner a reason to experience me as attractive? Not performative, not becoming somebody else, not living in fear that they'll leave, simply living with intention. So take care of yourself, stay curious, keep growing, flirt with your person that you already chose, look at them, touch them, and admire them out loud. That's my document. Hour and 31 minutes, not bad. I was going to try to do 10 things, and I picked my 10 topics, and I got my first 3 typed out, and I read it, and I was like, this is kind of long. And I took the other 10 things, and I stuck it on another document so that I can continue to do this when I feel like doing it. And I have 7 more topics that are just needing to be mentally worked through. So 139 people on YouTube, 20 people on Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Excellent, honestly. Thank you. You mentioned women should send the text. Did you mean specifically as a wife or a husband, or should that start in the early courting phase? What do you mean by the text? Right? Because if you're courting, sending pictures of your hoo-ha in a really promiscuous position, I wouldn't do that. If this is, this is just me being completely honest. If this is, she said, no, not pics. I'm going to say this anyways. If I am trying to get to know a woman and I wanted to really develop a life with them, and they were sending me dirty photos during the courting phase and we're not even dating yet, that's an instant red flag. I don't want that. You are giving this away way too easily. Like I'm good. Initiate the convo and ask questions first. I honestly don't see anything wrong with being the first person to text. I think that this whole don't be the first person to text, don't chase. I'll run after an ice cream truck because I'm a fat ass, but I'm not running after a woman. If you tell me you're leaving, you can fucking leave. But if I am pursuing you and I had a great time, I'm going to let you know I had a great time. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Like that is, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think it makes you look desperate. I think it makes you honest. If you are feeling good about something that's going on right now between somebody that you're courting or your initial dating phase, why hide that? You know, I hope that you're having a really fucking dope day right now. I'm just thinking about you goes a long fucking way. So yeah, send that, initiate the conversation. That whole, they need to be the first to message is kind of toxic. I also believe you're setting yourself up for failure. Chris, would you mind helping Jeremy Harold 2208 with a relationship advice? I mean, if I see the question. Enjoyed the document, really makes me think about my life and what I need to work on. Thank you, Chris. You're welcome. This document was perfect timing with what I've been working on in my life. Thanks so much for your work. I've actually gotten that every single time I've done one of these documents now. It makes me feel great. Thank you for this. Makes me really think about how things are in the future. Glad to finally catch a VOD. This is actually a live stream. So thank you for being here. About to get a drink for ourselves. Okay. There's a big stigma around waiting for them to text first. It's absolutely insane to me. If you want something, if I want something, I'm going after that shit like a rabid dog. This is why I have success, though. I'm not waiting for anything to come into my existence. Luck is the result of hard work and preparation. Could be that luck is the result of hard work, preparation, and opportunity. The difference between the first and the second one of those is I believe I can make my opportunity. If I do the hard work and preparation and opportunity doesn't find me, I'm going to kick that motherfucker's door in. I'm coming for what I want. This sitting around waiting for things to happen and just kind of doing a thing is bit shit. Like I am not that motherfucker. And my life has been proof of that. You guys who don't have the gumption or the ambition to take, I'm going to fucking grab life by the throat and choke the goddamn life out of her. And I'm taking everything. That's just the way that it is. So if you guys are wanting something, if you have intentions with somebody, or you've got a good thing going and you think that this is a new thing that you want to pursue, fucking pursue it. I'm not saying love bomb and be crazy aggressive, but like, if you don't speak up for yourself, who the fuck's going to? And definitely don't let somebody on the internet tell you how to live your fucking life. Not even me. If you think that you've got something going on and you think that your life is going to be better the way that you're doing it, I don't fucking know you. Do what you need to do. If you have some advice that's been given and you think you can implement it in your life and you think it's going to make your life better, that's what's up. Make your life better. And I don't care where that fucking information comes from. I think I wasn't, is this, hold on, let me scroll back up a little bit because the chat started moving. How do I save things when we were close to falling apart? I have no idea. That's such a open-ended thing. Do you think implementing the check-ins early on is ideal? Or is it better to wait until there's something to work out? I think doing it as soon as you start dating, not in the courting phase, but in the actual dating phase, it's a great way to check in on like mental health, finances. I would do that as soon as you get serious with somebody because it teaches you, again, how to communicate. That's the real goal of the check-ins. The goal of the check-ins is communication. Everything else that you get from that is a bonus. You're learning your person, though, and you're doing it in a safe manner. Jeremy said, I think I wasn't intentional enough about our relationships and things have all sort of degraded. She struggles to trust me and I haven't worked on improving enough. I want to save our relationship. I mean, why doesn't she trust you? When we do these YouTube lives and you guys are asking for real like advice, you have 160 characters to try to work through some shit and we don't know your life. I can give you tons of generic answers, but there are so many deeper questions that need to be answered as to know what's actually going on. If you want to save your relationship and you've been cheating on somebody the entire time, or you've been putting your hands on them, like, how are we going to know that unless you tell us these things? So like you just said that your relationship is all sorts of degraded and she struggles to trust you. Trust is the foundation of a relationship. What did you do to destroy that trust? And if you love this person and you wanted them to be in your life, why did you do the thing to destroy their trust? Like these are email questions. If you guys have very simple things like, how can you explain an I versus you statement? We can answer that all day long. When you have like real serious, deep-seated things going in your relationships, you have to send an email. You guys, even with the emails, you're giving us the little viewfinder that you have in a hotel room. And I can see like door 31B and 31C and the person standing in front of my door, but I can't see the rest of the building. Everything is what you guys give us, and we have to try to interpret things from there. Cynthia said, testosterone changes as men age. I mentioned it to my husband a few years ago, and it definitely helped us. Thank you for advocating for getting your labs done. Absolutely. Absolutely get your labs done, guys. Chris, I know who I am and what I provide for my fiance, but sometimes I still feel like I'm not enough, even though she says I'm doing an amazing job. How can I stop being hard on myself? Why stop being hard on yourself? Why don't you use that to become a better person, right? Because there's always room for growth. I go through this. Real shit, I tell Peaches at least once or twice a month that I'm afraid one day she's going to wake up and not want me anymore. I don't think that it'll ever, I hope to God that that's never the case, but there is definitely a concern. And real shit, I think some of it comes from the content that we read and what we watch on social media, because I look for videos to react to. I worry that I'm going to be that man who gets divorced because she gets bored in life, because I see it all the fucking time on social media. It's created a fear in me, but I've used that fear to become a better man. And I check in and I do the things to try to maintain a good relationship with her, because that's really all I can do, is be the best version of me for her. And if the best version of me is not enough for her, then at that point, like, there's nothing else I can do. I can't say I didn't do enough. I can say I did everything I could and I wasn't enough for this anymore. The relationship ran its course, whatever. But I would use that fear, because it is a fear. I would use that fear to perpetuate my growth. That would be my discipline. I would think about that fear a lot. I would journal about it. I would not allow that fear to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I would use that fear to move me forward. Fear, anger, hate, and love are great motivators to get shit accomplished. My grandmother always says, he who hesitates is lost. And that has encouraged me through so many doors in life. I love that. I also don't think people deserve to be upset when the person then gets into a relationship and they didn't take their chance when they had it. I agree. I don't know if there's more to that, but scrolling down. What's your guys' email address? The number 2, bebetterco@gmail.com. If you guys, so we're doing right now, there's 3 ways to email. It's all the same email address. You can do a question for the podcast, which needs to be really hyper detailed. If you're a Patreon member, that gets pushed to the top. If you write in as a couple and both people are writing in as their perspectives, that gets pushed above Patreon. We are offering Zoom calls as well. And then there's the questions for Chris, which is a segment that goes directly to me. That only needs to be about 2 paragraphs. I just need to know what's going on and I can free flow the conversation. And then questions for Peaches, although she hasn't done a segment like that, she is taking questions in case she ever decides to do it. So that's the thing.
I thought about doing that this morning.
Did you? Oh, she just said she thought about doing that this morning. Yep. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go take a breather outside.
Good for you for knowing you need to take that breather. I don't know how you fucking do it.
He doesn't want to do it. And
That's what pisses me off. That's exactly what gets me.
So I will be back in 5 minutes.
Okay, babe. Jeremy said, I once broke her trust by receiving nudes from someone 2 years. I'm assuming 2 years ago. I've worked very much to implement open phone policies and a lot of things, but now things have gotten to a point she's unsure. You realize that simply getting nudes is not the problem, right? Like, that's a result of you getting caught. Like, you got nude photos sent to you, but there was a whole lot of other things in that. Unless some person randomly sent you a nude photo that had nothing to do with you and there was no previous conversation, the nudes is only a part of the problem. There's an emotional aspect that gets tied to this shit as well. Men want to know, did you fuck her? Women want to know, did you love her? There's a difference there, right? There's a different attachment that goes to these things. So I hope that you guys are able to sit down and really look through your shit. If it's been 2 years and she hasn't gotten over it yet, she may not be able to. Rob Monique said, you break things down in such a good way that I understand and appreciate. I love that. I'm glad that you were able to fucking find value in this. How do I get out of feeling masculine as a woman? By finding a masculine man. I truly believe that we live in a world where women are forced into their masculine because masculinity has become such a taboo topic and it's become frowned upon. And I believe there's a whole lot of brainwashing that's happening because of it. And you have to unlearn that bullshit that you've been taught. Okay, we're already down at the bottom. Have you guys had many couples both write in with their perspectives? We've had quite a few. Nowhere near as many as one-sided. I think that, man, I wish we could. I would love to have more of that, but there's people don't want to fucking do that, really. They feel like, some people feel like they're airing their dirty laundry, or they're afraid that, they're going to be proven wrong or whatever. It gives perspective. When one person writes in, we're getting a third of the story because you have your side, their side, and the truth is in the middle. But it takes hearing both sides to really understand what happens. And honestly, the Zoom calls that we do is the best because we can see body language and we can hear the tone and the way that people talk to each other. And the Zoom calls that we've done, all of them but one have been fucking amazing. And the one that I don't feel was amazing was still good, but it wasn't really a problem solving email or like conversation. I really feel like the people just wanted to talk to us. And I don't like that. If I'm going to dedicate an hour or 2 hours of my life to try to help somebody, I want it to actually be helpful. Otherwise, we could just record a podcast and go on about our life. Yeah. Effing preach. Find a masculine man. Have a fabulous day. You too. I handed over finances to my husband and it was so freeing. How are you guys doing lately? How's your back? My back is, man, I don't know. I have days where it hurts to get out of bed. I do 30 minutes minimum of cardio every morning. As soon as I get up, I let the dog out. I grab my energy drink. I put my shoes on. I let the dog back in. And then I go to the gym. And it hurts getting to the gym. But as soon as I get on the treadmill and I start walking on a 5 incline, it loosens up my back and I'm good for most of the day. I'm taking BPC 157, TB 500, and KPV for my nerve. And it's helped. I'm nowhere near in pain the way that I was. Like if I was at an 8, I'm at like a 2 now. But living at a 2 all the time is fucking stupid. So, and we're good. Peaches and I are good. We got a lot of things that we're working on. We're kind of slowing down and thank you for asking. Honestly, thank you for asking that. We have a lot going. She's getting ready to do another women's retreat in November, which is for sale on the website right now. I'll plug that just because we're talking about it. We have a men and women's retreat in October that's completely sold out. And then in November, we rented a cabin in North Carolina that is for her to do like a spiritual woo-woo retreat where it's just women. You guys can go out in the woods and scream, fucking dance around a fire. There's a water purification ceremony, and she's going to be doing a whole lot of things on the spiritual side of stuff that she's super excited about because she's wanted to do this for like a year now, and we finally pulled the trigger on renting the space. And 2027 is completely open. We haven't booked anything yet, but we're in the planning phases of 2027. We're going to do at least 2 couple retreats next year. We want to hold a couple ceremonies. We would like to do a wedding, vow renewal, hand fasting ceremony at some point, though real shit. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. And I'm kind of terrified to do it because that's completely new ground and I don't want to fuck that up for somebody. But we're doing a thing. Like we're good. We're good. We're happy. And this ultimately, it's all anyone can ask for, right? Is Peach on day 3 or 4 of homeschooling? I'm still traumatized from the Vegemite incident. That fucking, apparently that was a thing. Like they make Vegemite chocolates in Australia. I don't remember who it was. Cadbury maybe. She ate the shit out of that. She loves that stuff. We are on day 4, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today's day 4 and the kids are technically ahead. So are you guys excited for ceremony? Yeah, we are really excited. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. Definitely want to try to make it to the couples next year. I think that there might be a early purchase of the Airbnb for that to try to get those spots sold without us having to rush to sell them. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, but we didn't make a decision. So that might come up for sale soon. It feels weird because it's August. We still have 4 months left of 2026 and holidays coming up. So trying to book something for like April or February or whenever of next year feels like it's too far away, but it would help people as well if they're making payment plans and shit. So I sincerely think you guys are amazing human beings and value the advice because I look at you guys as such happy and healthy relationship. I smile when I see you guys together because I can just see the love. Yeah. Better? I'm tired, boss. Dog tired. All right, babe. Get them. Get them little heathens in line. Thank you for being you, Chris, because you are someone I look up to, especially as a father figure that I never had. Your raw emotions means a lot because it makes us men not feel alone. I appreciate that. It's weird to hear people say that I'm a father figure or a mentor. I really just think that I've got life experience. I'm trying to save you guys a lot of heartache and pain. Do you have any advice on self-sabotaging as a guy? I've been single for years now, but when someone or something good comes along, I swerve it. I feel ready, but maybe I'm just being picky. Do you believe that you're just being picky? Like, do you actually believe that, or are you afraid? There's a difference. Being, I wouldn't even use the word picky. Being selective, being cautious, being conscious, being aware of the things that you want and not settling sounds very different than being picky. Being afraid of getting hurt, etc., like that's a different situation altogether. feel the fear and do it anyways if you really believe that you're ready to date. But I'm curious if you're afraid or if you're actually being selective. Being selective is a good thing. Being afraid and allowing it to cripple your action, preventing you from moving forward, that's a problem in itself. That's a huge fucking problem. I love you and Peach and listening to you all the time. Appreciate your inputs and made so much progress and just listening to you both. I love that. Tell Peach hi. Hope so. Yeah, I'll let her know well, we'll be going live for Patreon in a little bit. She's got a homeschool for another 30 minutes, and then we'll probably go live around 11 or 12 for Patreon. I've watched you guys for so long, and you can see the glow in both of you now. That's because we've healed a lot, and thank you for that. Just thank you. There's no reason for it. Just thank you. I homeschool my 11-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son. It's definitely hard. I have to teach them separately because they fight so much. So I feel Peach is froze. She's a fucking gangster though. It's frustrating. Like she had to just walk outside and take a breath, but like she's back in there doing a thing. Like she's got some fucking patience on her, man. I don't have it. Thank you for helping my relationship so much with both my partner and I referring to all the videos during date nights and talking so much deeper. I appreciate everything. You're welcome. What curriculum is Peaches using? I couldn't tell you. I honestly don't know. There's 2 websites that I had to pay for, but I didn't retain any of that shit to memory because when we agreed to do this, I asked her to be hands off. I will help do things, but I don't want to be involved in it on that level. Self-sabotage is usually because you don't believe you deserve the good thing. Do you believe you deserve that happiness? That's a great question. You are 100% someone I look up to and try to implement most of your ideas and teachings. I've seen my parents' relationship, and it's not something I want to model. That, a lot of people actually say that. Been doing breath work. That is life-changing stuff. Yeah, breathing with intention versus breathing with automation is 2 very different things. I think it's more being afraid. There you go. I've never asked myself that. It's fucking scary. Bro, I get it. I fucking get it. We had, that was a Patreon only one. Y'all won't get that one. I literally just did one the other day where we were talking about the statistics of the rule of 6s and how the narrative out there in the manosphere is that women want the rule of 6s, 6 foot, 6 tall, 6 figures, 6 pack, 6 wiener. And that breaks down to like 2% of the world population. So like, it's just not a reasonable thing. We had a whole ass conversation about that. I can see, because I'm online doing the same thing that you guys are with doom scrolling, except for I'm looking for content to react to or to talk about. And it's affected my mental health. It's made me look at the dating game the way that most of these men are looking at the dating game, and it is absolutely fucking scary. The reality is that's not true. The internet is an illusion. You guys are hearing the loudest speaking people and the fucking morons that are out there running their mouths versus the people who are actually living that life. So how do I not let my anger's husband affect me? He verbalizes everything he's angry about in a raised voice, and I let it affect me, even though I know he needs to do that to release his emotions. He verbalizes everything he's angry about in a raised voice. Well, if you know that this is how he vents and there's no physical abuse, emotional abuse, he's not taking out on you, he's just being loud and angry, ignore it. There's a difference between yelling about his frustration and yelling at you about his frustration. I think yelling is a sign of an emotionally unregulated individual. And I think at some point we all get to the point of yelling and we all become emotionally unregulated. So I'm not saying that you should never yell. There are people that do, like, I don't yell very often, but there are times where I'm gonna raise my voice. There will be times I yell. There will be things that push me over the edge. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it at every inconvenience, right? But so in your situation, just with what you laid out, I would say ignore it. Or I would tell him like, hey, I can tell that you're angry right now and you're not angry with me, but you yelling is making me feel unsafe. Can you go outside and yell in the garage? I'm going to leave, whatever, and have a conversation about why you feel not good when he's doing that. The only women who want those things are 2-dimensional NPCs. I actually believe that. Dead internet. You know that more than 60% of the internet is bots now. It's more than 57% of the internet is actual bots. Yep, 57%. Do you have any advice on how to hold a conversation with your significant other about wanting to start changing things for the better? Example, health, finances, household responsibilities, without the man becoming defensive in the initial stages? I have all, yes, absolutely do. The check-ins. We created an entire document that you guys can download and read the document. The questions on the document are there to help you navigate life and ultimately teach you how to talk to your person. And it's about a report card. I need to know how I'm doing. I want you to know how you're doing. And then I want to come back in 2 weeks and review the changes that we've made and continue this process. If you are coming to somebody and you're like, you're fat and need to lose weight, that's not having a conversation about our health. That's you trying to belittle somebody into changing, right? That's about conformity. It's control. It's ugliness. If you are both overweight and you're realizing that you guys can't have sexy time without having a heart attack, it's a different conversation. Hey, I've noticed that this is starting to impact our life, and I don't want to not be able to walk upstairs without breathing. And like, I want to be able to have sexy time that lasts for more than 15 heartbeats, right? Like, let's start going to the gym. There's those conversations, and the way you deliver them matter. And the check-ins are going to be the best way to teach you how to have it, because when you're having the check-ins, one of the things that you're supposed to do is if you say something that triggers your person, you guys pause and work through that trigger. It helps. The check-ins matter, and they're free, guys. It's a free PDF, tobebetter.com resources. Click the resources tab. There's a kids check-in, an adult check-in. There's a going no contact questionnaire in case some of you are thinking about cutting off people in your life. There's a shadow work document, a recommended reading list. Put a lot of time into that stuff. Episode idea, I would love to see you do an episode geared towards women through the eyes of a man. Peaches does an episode geared towards men. I don't know what that would look like. I actually don't even know what it is that you're asking. If you're asking what I think you're asking, there's no way that I could do that, because I would get fucking ripped apart. I can't even. The internet comes after me hard, guys. Like, I know that like we have positivity that comes through, but there's a whole lot of ugly that comes after me. I remember at one point I told mothers that they need to have hobbies and an identity other than being a mother. And I had an entire comment section ripping me the fuck apart, because how dare a man say that to a woman? And like the amount of people who were like, you're right, but I don't want to fucking hear this from a man. Like, I don't think I'm willing to do that. I have the want to help people grow and do better, but at some point the content's not worth the headache that comes with it. And real shit, the headache that comes with it absolutely affects my mental health. I can't do the comment section anymore. In fact, I think at some point in the next 6 months, maybe a year, I'm going to hire somebody to take over our social media platforms, because I don't want to do this. So I want to do what we're doing right now and not be involved in the conversation on the fucking comment section. Somebody on Facebook says, I honestly take both your words to heart, but my wife still puts everything and anything on me. She doesn't work, and I support the entire house and bills, as well as my 3 girls. My 3 girls, or our 3 girls, that matters, that I have full custody of. Okay, so they're yours. And of her twin girls, and one has cerebral palsy, but yet feel like I don't do enough, because she constantly tells me I don't do enough for her and help her with her daily life, which is house and kids advice. I would write down the division of labor and everything that you guys got going on, the things that you do and the things that she does. And I would look at that list so that it's physically written out, and there can be no argument at that point. You do the dishes, laundry, and cook dinner 3 nights a week. I clean the bathroom, the kitchen, take care of the car maintenance, pay the bills, work, bring the money into the house, take care of the bank statements, take care of the kids, do the thing. It'll be very, very disproportionate. And at that point, there's no argument to be made. You can see it in print as to what's going on. There are a whole lot of people out there that are just real ungrateful, guys. And that's just all there is to it. So I remember you saying that, and it opened my eyes. It was what I needed to hear to make changes. I'm glad. People are wild. Don't blame you at all. I understand. You might be right. I'm a woman. I'm using my man's YouTube account. I would love to listen to you and your perspective around relationships talking to women. What do you mean by that? Like, what is it that you're wanting me to talk about specifically? Can you give me an example so that I can at least understand what we're talking about? Because right now I'm not really sure. I'm gonna stay single for life. I don't want to get married or have kids. Okay, so don't. The idea of staying, believing you're going to stay single for life and speaking in definitives is foolish. I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to be in a relationship. I'm never going to have kids. Using words like never, always, every, um, speaking in definitives is very foolish. And I said that after I got divorced, I swore I would never get into another relationship, let alone get married, to a woman who had kids, because I was semi-retired. Like, I was ready to go explore and live my life. And I did all of the things that I said I was never going to do again. And that was a big wake up call for me. You find the right person, you'd be surprised what you're willing to do. Find the right person, you're willing to burn the fucking world down for them. Your world, somebody else's world, like it's real shit. Like, it's just, when you know, you know. 144 people hanging out, 17 on Facebook. Thank you for hanging out with me today, guys. We've been on for 2 hours. I've been on for 2 hours. What's your favorite meal that Peaches cooks? Biscuits and gravy. Although she made kielbasa and cabbage the other night, and I fucking wrecked that cabbage. I ate all of it. The next day, what was a little bit that was left over, I finished. I don't know. I've never had cabbage taste like that. It was amazing. That was the best cabbage I've ever had in my fucking life. It was so good. But biscuits and gravy is my favorite. Her mashed potatoes are really good too. Like, her mashed potatoes are fucking legit. Anybody that's ever come to a retreat or anything where she's made those mashed potatoes would tell you that's all you need to make. Just make the mashed potatoes. We're good. You guys enjoy these live streams even though there's ads popping up on them? Jay said they're fire. Yeah, they're good. When she made them at Tommy's funeral, we had to mash those things with a fork. We bent the fork and shit. Like, they need a better thing, but the Airbnb did not have a potato masher. Her breakfast potatoes too. Yeah, they're good. They're good. My husband didn't want to have any more kids. He has one with his ex-wife who turned 18, but now we're both in the same headspace and at the point in our life where we do want a kid. So we have waiting on someone to leave the family business to. I don't think that's the right reason to have a kid. Having a kid to leave your business to is definitely not the right reason to have a kid. My man made a comment the other day about the difference between a hero and an outlaw. A hero would sacrifice his woman for the world. An outlaw would sacrifice the world for his woman. He said he's an outlaw. So am I. Yeah, I would 100% burn this entire fucking thing to the ground for her. If you don't have ads, IT guy, it is because of you have YouTube Premium. Yep. For those of you who are getting the ads, just know that this will be edited and dropped as content later. It'll be bonus content, but it will be released. So the ads giving me designated water breaks. That's funny. I have YouTube Premium. I have to figure this out. If you have YouTube Premium, you just got to log in. You won't get ads. Thank you for the 2 hours of entertainment at work. You're welcome. Got to make money for your time. I don't mind the ads. I appreciate that. Guys, I'm going to wrap up. Peaches and I will be going live probably in the next hour and a half for Patreon to do some email reads and hang out with you guys so you guys can see my wife's gorgeous face. I won't be jealous about you looking at her. It's okay. I look at her too, so I get it. And we will see you guys later. So maybe I'll do another one of these next week publicly. We'll see. Have a good day, guys.